Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be continuing on with the drawing that we were working on last week. One thing I want to go over with you guys, I have been getting some feedback. A couple of you are still struggling with the line command. So I just want to demonstrate that again real quick. When you're drawing a line, when you're using any command in DraftSight, make sure to have a habit of reading the command line down here. It's asking you for input. Obviously it's asking me for the starting point. And you click with your mouse anywhere on the screen and you're now creating a line. Then you click on your second point, third point, fourth point, and so on. The line command is one of the few commands that you'll use that stays active until you actually terminate it. Now to terminate the line command, there's three ways to do that. Well, actually two. You can hit escape. Three. You can hit escape, return, enter, or spacebar. So I make it a habit to hit the escape key. There. And then now I'm going to repeat the command. And you can see the command it stays active. This time I'm going to hit the spacebar. Same thing. I'm going to repeat the command. This time I'm going to hit return or enter. It's the same thing. So until you do that, the line command stays active and you will continue to draw lines until you terminate it. It's important to remember that. With a little practice and some habits, you can remember that. Now last week, the last time we were together, we drew this table. And we used a couple commands. We drew a line, and then we copied it, and then we mirrored it, and then we created the top, and then we created the apron. So you may have to watch week 4 video again, just to remind yourself how all this was done. So today we're going to draw a chair. It's going to be very similar in process to how we drew the table. We'll start out by drawing a line. And this time we'll make sure the ortho is turned on. And I'm going to draw a line starting from below the floor and going straight up. I'm not really worried about how high this is right now. We'll figure that out later. I want the leg of my chair to be half the width of the table leg. Does anybody remember how wide these table legs are? I don't. It's been a couple weeks. So let's go ahead and measure that. Before doing this, make sure E-snap is turned on. My measurement will show up down here. It's 4 inches. That's what I thought it was. So if we want to make our chair leg half of what the table leg is, which is obviously 2. So now we're going to copy this leg. Hit return. Now it's asking me to specify displacement from which point. In this case, just click anywhere and move your mouse to the right. Make sure ortho is turned on. That way the line is either going to move to the left or to the right. We're just going to type 2, which is half of 4. The copy command is very similar to that of the line command. It'll continue to make copies until you terminate the command. Hit escape, return, or spacebar. Now notice that our chair leg is going below the floor. We're going to trim this. So we're going to find the trim command. Use trim. What you need to do is window and make sure all 3 lines are getting crossed. Hit return. And now select which lines you want to remove. Here's another command. It needs to be terminated. Now we have the beginnings of a chair leg. Let's connect the 2 lines here on the bottom. We're going to draw a line, and we're going to start from here over to here. Notice my line command is still active. So I had to terminate it. Okay. Now, what is the height of our table? If I remember correctly, it's 28 inches. Hey, there it is. Let's make our chair leg 18 inches high. So I'm going to do a right crossing window, and it's going to only select the bottom of the leg. When you're doing a right crossing window, the whole piece has to be inside the window. So by doing this, we only selected the bottom of the leg. Make sure ortho's turned on. And we're going to copy that line. Just click anywhere and move your mouse up. Notice that line is moving up. Now we'll type in 18. Now let's trim these 2 lines off. Here we're going to do a left crossing window. And anything that this square box comes in contact with will be selected. After you've selected everything when doing a trim, you need to hit return. And now it's going to ask you to select segments to remove. Another command that needs to be terminated by hitting escape, spacebar, or return. And remember what I always say, save and save often. And now we have a chair leg. Now let us copy this chair leg. Make sure ortho's turned on. And we'll do a right crossing window. Everything, that whole leg has been selected. Allow me to demonstrate what happens if when we don't cover everything in that bounding box. We activate the copy command. This time I'm only going to do part of the leg. Not everything got selected. If I do a left crossing window, just about everything got selected. So in this case, if I just want to copy this chair leg right here, the best option to do it is a right crossing window and making sure that the whole leg is inside the crossing window. Hit return. Now it's asking for a starting point. In this case, you can select anywhere. And I have ortho on, so the new copy of the leg is moving exactly left or right. Let's type in 14 for a distance. That looks about right, don't it? And now we're going to make a chair seat. Best way to do that is to do a line command. I'm sorry, let me back up. We're going to draw a line. There's a couple ways to draw a line. You could click on this icon here that says line. Or, second option, is to type the word line. Most CAD systems have what's called a hotkey. if you're drawing a line, a hotkey for a line usually is L. So if I type in L, return, now we're ready to draw a line. My starting point, I'm going to start from here. Make sure my E-snap's on. And I'm going to go all the way to here. Line command is still active, so I can draw another segment. I'm going to make the seat 1 inch thick, so I'm just going to type in 1 and return. That didn't work out so well. Let's see what happened. Let's try that again. There we go. I'm going to draw another line here and there. And now we're going to trim this off. Left bounding box, return. And now we have our seat. Notice how the seat is perfectly flush on both sides. Maybe the chair might be a little more comfortable if the seat was extending past the leg a little bit. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to move this leg out of the way. Let's do a right bounding box. Hit return. Let's move the leg out of the way. Okay, this week I'm going to introduce you to a command called stretch. This is a really cool feature. For this, what we're going to do is we're going to take the front of the seat and we're going to stretch it out another inch. Because we want the seat to extend perfectly straight out, let's make sure ortho's turned on, which it is. When you're doing the stretch command, it's going to ask you to specify what you want to stretch. When you're doing a stretch, you want to do a left bounding box. Notice it selected 3 of the edges. Hit return. What we're going to do is we're just going to click anywhere and move the mouse to the left. And just type in 1. Return. What we did is we just extended the seat 1 inch. Now we're going to move this leg back into the position that it was in before. So we'll just highlight the whole leg. And we'll activate the move command. And we have E-snap turned on. We're just going to pick this corner here. And we're going to move this leg up to the bottom of the seat until you see a snap come on. See how it just snaps and you get a little note to the side that says perpendicular. Now, if you did not get that, there's a couple reasons why. You didn't have E-snap on, or your settings within DraftSight is not set for a perpendicular snap. To check on that, you can actually hover over E-snap and right click, click settings, and a dialog box comes up. These are all the E-snap settings that you have an option to activate or turn off. The one you just saw was the perpendicular snap, and you'll see that it's turned on. As you can see, most of my snaps are turned on. Sometimes when you're drawing, it can get a little irritating if all these are turned on. You may only need a few snaps. You have the option of turning them on and off. And to do that, you just simply uncheck the boxes. Whenever you do something in a dialog box like this, before you exit out, you need to hit apply. And then you hit OK. Now back to our chair. So now we have 2 legs and a seat. We need to have something here towards the bottom of the legs to stabilize it. So we're going to draw a 1-inch stretcher. A stretcher is a piece of wood or any other material that extends in between 2 legs. The purpose of it is to keep the legs from blowing out or in. So we're just going to draw a simple line. Pick anywhere, doesn't matter. And now we're going to trim it so that we only have a line in between the legs. A left bounding box is perfect for this exercise. Hit return. Click the segments you want to get rid of. And now we have a line that's perfectly in between the legs. See the square here? It means that the trim command is still active. Hit escape. Now we're going to copy this line. Hit copy. Specify what you want to copy. Hit return. Click anywhere. And move the mouse down. You'll notice that that line is now moving down. And we're going to type in 1, return. And hit escape to cancel the command. We now have a 1-inch thick stretcher extending in between the legs. We're almost done. We almost have a perfect chair to go with our table. Now most chairs have a back on them to support you. So we're going to draw a leg. And we're going to draw a 1-inch thick back. So we'll activate the line command. And we'll snap onto the back corner. Move your mouse up. Let's type in 24. Let's see what that looks like. That's not too bad. We could have gone with 18. We could have gone with 20. 24, that might be a little high, but we're going to leave it like that for now. Let's copy this line. Hit return. I'm sorry. Let's start this over. Select what I want to copy. Hit return. Move to the left. And just type in 1. We now have a 1-inch thick back. And now we'll put a line on top of the back. Looks pretty good, don't it? Don't forget to save. What I just did is I did a Control S, and that's what's called a quick save. Another way to do it is to click on the draft site icon and then select save. Let's move the chair a little bit. Make sure ortho's on. Hit return. Oh, what did I forget to do? I'm going to select move. Now I'm going to select the chair again. Hit return. And it's asking me from where. In this case, I'll just click anywhere. And I'll use my mouse and I'll move the chair in just a little bit more. I don't know how comfortable that chair would be after a while, but it's a nice enough chair for our exercise. Now, it would be quite a lonely table to just have one chair. So why don't we mirror this so we have 2 chairs? I'm going to select mirror. Now, the last thing we did was move this chair. So It's asking me what do I want to mirror. It's asking me to selectify entities. I could do a previous. So if I type in P for previous, return, look what happened. The chair is now highlighted. Now hit return again. Now it's asking me for the first starting point of the mirror line. I'm going to select the center of this table. And I'm going to move my mouse in a downward position, downward direction. You'll notice you're getting a preview of a copy of that chair. When you see that, hit return. For some reason that did not work. Let me try this again. I'm going to select the chair. This time I'm going to have to select the chair. Now I'm going to activate the mirror command. I'll select my first line. I know what I did. See that command line? It's asking me to select the end point of the line. Now it's asking me, do I want to delete the original? And for no. Sometimes when a command doesn't work out, you need to be watching the command line. It'll give you a clue as to what's happening. I knew what was happening all along. I just wanted you to see this. And don't forget to save. And I'm going to leave you guys with this so you can try to finish your table from last week and then try to draw a chair. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.